right, if we can go ahead and show us, it's 6:30 for us to go ahead and begin our meeting. Can you go ahead and do roll call for us?
I think I can see that part. Joseph Morrow.
Moyer.
Present.
Sam Cortez. David Emery. Griffin Gonzalez.
Here.
Michael Rodriguez.
Michael Rodriguez. And Charles Tate.
Okay, we got everybody here. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate that. Let's go ahead and begin by all of us standing and doing the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Jump, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, we do have a busy meeting, so we're just going to go ahead and press on. The first section that we have is citizens to be heard. Let's see. Okay, so okay. So this is the opportunity for citizens, visitors, and guests to address the city council for any issue or any item on the agenda in compliance with LGC Section 551.007. City council may not discuss any presented issue, nor may any action be taken on any issue at this time. Citizens to be heard are limited to 3 minutes each. Attorney General Opinion, JC-0169. We don't have anybody signed up. I still want to go ahead and ask. Anybody would like to bring up some comments to be heard? Going once. Anybody would like to bring any comments? Okay, twice. Lynette, if you can go ahead and show us on there. No comments presented. Concern. Okay, we're going to go ahead and press on, but we're going to go ahead and go out of order. We're going to go ahead and take care of part of number 8 of the executive session, and this is due to the availability of counsel. So we're going to go into executive session. This is the City Council, City of Lytle may convene an executive session in accordance to Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.0711, A and 2, consultation with the attorney to discuss and consider the following item. So we're going to go into B now based on the availability of one of our attorneys, and that's B, the employee complaints filed against city administrator. So we're going to go ahead and close our regular meeting right now. And this is at 6:32. And council, if we can please convene in the back, I appreciate it. And Jessica, if you can join us. All right. All right, council, thank you so much. Appreciate that. And if we could, Lynette, if we can go ahead and show us coming back at 7:01 PM and no action taken. Do that. All right, council, we're going to go ahead and move on to number 5. This is the consent of the agenda. Consider the approval of the minutes. First, taking a look at March the 13th, 2023.
Announcements is not a big deal, but number 9 should be seniors plural, not seniors will be together.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for March 13th as submitted
Got a motion on the floor for us to go ahead and approve March 13th meeting
with the amendment suggested.
with the amendment. Okay. Got a second? Any further discussion?
A second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. You opposed? Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's move on to the next set of meetings for the minutes, which is the 27th of March.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as submitted for March the 27th.
Got a motion for us to approve the minutes for the 27th? Got a second, Sam? Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. And let's go ahead and move on to B, consider the approval of payment of bills, and Lynette actually provided that. Got a spreadsheet. Take a look at that.
And then what's this last line, this comptroller of public accounts?
That's our money that we have to pay back, so we owe a percentage all the time to the state of Texas for fines collected.
Is that quarterly or?
It's a quarterly, and that's about average of what's going in, but remember our tickets have tripled in the amount, so it's a little bit higher than it was in the last years that we've paid.
So that's their cut, huh?
Yes, sir.
So you were watching.
Working hard, sir, working hard.
Just breathing. Mayor, I can make a motion. Move that we pay the bills as.
Got a motion on the floor for us to pay the bills as submitted? Okay, got a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you so much, appreciate that. So then move on to item number 6, the open session. Take action on items discussed. The first one is A, is consider an act upon presentation and approval of the city annual audit for fiscal year 2021 through 2022. How are we doing, Deborah?
I'm great. How about you?
Good. Thank you. You should have in front of you, she placed, so you should have the letter and the report, the financial report in front of you that we're going to use for the presentation.
And I believe you received it in your packet, the agenda packet when it went out. Obviously not a hard copy, but I am Debbie Frazier. I'm from Armstrong Bond and Associates, and we performed the September 30th, 2022 audit. And I would like to tell you that after adjustments, your financial statements are fairly stated and materially correct. And that's basically what our opinion says on page 1. If you'd like to turn to page 14 and 15, I believe. I'm sorry, 13.
Are we in the,
In the book,
In the
I'm
book.
sorry, not in the letter. So this is your statement of net position, and this is typically not how you see your financial statements. This is full accrual, so you see your capital assets, you see your long-term debt, your pension liabilities, as well as your other post-employment benefit liabilities, and compensated absences. You don't see those typically on your modified accrual balance sheet. So at the end of the year, you actually had $22.2 million in total assets. Of that, $11.1 million was cash and cash equivalents. And if you'll notice, your business type activities had $9.5 million in it, and that's basically primarily because of your bond. You had a deferred pension, OPEB-related outflows of $136,715. This is generally, the bulk of it is your pension or TMRS payments that you make from January 1 through September 30th, because of the current year, because TMRS does their report on the calendar year. The total liabilities are $10.6 million, and the bulk of that, almost $9.7 million, is long-term debt, and that's your 2 bonds that you have outstanding. You did do a refunding bond this past year for $1 million, and then you had the $8.5 million bond also. Your deferred inflows are $297,789. This is primarily the interest earned on your TMRS investments, which you guys don't ever see. It's just a report that's put out one time per year. So at the end, you had total net position of $11.4 million, and of that, almost $8.7 million is net investment in capital assets, which is your capital assets minus any debt associated with those capital assets. And then $1.1 million is restricted. If you turn to page 16, this is basically what you see on your budget. So your, it's kind of the modified accrual. You see no compensated absences, capital assets, pensions, or long-term debt. So you had $2,087,360 in your governmental funds. This is your general fund, and then everything except your proprietary funds. Of that, almost $1,563,000 is cash and cash equivalents. Your liabilities were $314,789. Your unavailable property tax revenue was $99,720. That's basically the property tax that hasn't been collected over the lifetime of property tax for the city of Lytle. Then you have one fund balance of $1,672,851. Of that, your unassigned fund balance is $1,279,000, which is approximately 3 months of your operating expenditures for the following year. If you'll turn back to page 47, this is your schedule of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance, budget to actual. And I just want to go over, this is primarily how you budget. So when you're doing your monthly financial statements and comparing budget to actual, this is typically what you'll see. Your total revenues were $3,484,650 budgeted, and you actually brought in $3,537,197. So you had a positive variance of $52,547. You did have your ad valorem taxes. You guys kind of do it a little differently, which I'm hoping will be changed next year. You budget for all of your property taxes, and debt should really be recorded in your debt service fund, not as a transfer in, but as actual ad valorem, and that's how we've transferred over. Your expenditures were $3,421,650, and you actually spent $3,517,000. You had an unfavorable variance of $95,854. That left you with excess revenues of almost $20,000. You had some transfers in and transfers out that amounted to about $19,421. So your total net change in fund balance was $39,000. You had budgeted for $1,000, so you had a positive variance of $38,114. If you turn to page 49 and 50, this is your schedule of changes for your net pension liability and related ratios. I just want to point out something that's very positive. Texas Municipal Retirement System, which you pay in monthly for your employees' pension, you are actually funded 97.4%. The GFOA recommends that you be funded over 70%. So you're very well funded. And if you go halfway up the page, you'll see the primary reason for this is your net investment income was $531,188. If you turn to page 51 and 52, basically 52 is your supplemental death benefit. And this unfortunately will go up every year based on your retirees who have left the system. They get paid $7,500 if there's death once they've left the city's employment. So your covered payroll was $1.3 million, and your actual ending liability was $56,200. So your percent to payroll was 4.15%. I wasn't going to go over anything else in the report unless you have some questions that you'd like to ask.
You're still going to go through the letter of governance.
Again, if you have any questions that you find later on, my number is on the opinion letter, which is on page 1, and you're welcome to call me with any questions later. On page 1 of the communication with those charged with governance, the first part of the letter just tells our responsibilities for the audit. We had planned on doing this earlier, but we had some scheduling conflicts with management and then a little delay with some of the information. But we still, completed your report before the allocated or the SEC information was due.
And council, just so you know, so this, if you remember, they helped us out. We were able to get back the 3 years and we were behind. And now this one was the year that we came close to being right at the time that, well, we did come in the time. So this is a huge thing for us. We are now on schedule. So we appreciate your help, Debbie, in getting us.
Great, thank you. This year we had a significant accounting policy change for leases. And so it was, leases are accounted for differently from here on out. But we analyzed your contracts and found no real operating leases that we needed to make a capital lease. Significant accounting estimates, we had useful lives of depreciation, allowance for uncollectible property tax and utilities, and then the mortality rate, investment returns, discounts, healthcare cost trends, and other conditions related to the pension and the supplemental death benefit. On page 3, We did have an uncorrected misstatement between 21 and 22, and that was for 56,267, and it was to clear some of the other liabilities. This, we just have to tell you because it was above trivial, and it really has no material effect on your financial statements. We did have several adjustments, corrections to interfund activity, issuance of bonds payable, corrections to beginning fund balances, and then other liabilities. And then we did have some comments, which are listed on page 4. So cash accounts, bank recs, and stale checks. And I'm going to combine this with another one that we've written further on down the line. You guys have an excess of 20 accounts, which is a large amount of bank accounts that you have to reconcile each month. It would be much better if you took those accounts and combined the majority of them, except for your debt and capital projects, into one account and then recognize this information through fund accounting and restrictions rather than these 20 bank accounts that you get. The other thing is you want to separate in separate funds, and I don't mean bank accounts, I mean actual funds in the accounting system, your PEG, your hotel occupancy, and your court technology. They would be much more beneficial that you would see the activity if they were separated into funds. But of these 20 accounts, they're all with a local bank, and they're not receiving very much interest. And so TextPool, Logic, and I have to turn the page, can't think of the other one, currently are TextClass. They're currently earning 4.5%, 4.6, and then 4.9 to 5 on Logic. And those are currently your accounts at Lytle State Bank are making like less than 1%. So, you really need to look into that.
And council, just so you know, this was something that came up before in an audit. One of the reasons that we kind of kept things the way they were going is just because we were still trying to match things up and track things from different places. So after we get done with this audit, now we're in a position, our experts give us a position of being able to get us to that next level. So we definitely will address that. Debbie, thank you for the feedback on that.
The next item is vacation hours. I do want to say that this has been taken care of, but in the past, employees were allowed to roll forward vacation in excess of the written policy. Since it occurred in December 2021, I have to continue to write you up, but I can tell you in December 22, it was corrected. Computer policy, you still don't have written policies and procedures in place to address security and access controls to the computer system. Our understanding is that you are currently working on these, and they will be accomplished this year. The donations for the volunteer fire department, currently each month during the utility billing processes, donations are collected for volunteer fire department. So you run it through your general ledger, and you're still putting in an account that is for utility funds. We're asking you to change it to another account as it comes in, and then pay it out on a routine basis. Credit card accounts, I think you all are aware of this one. You had a Capital One Walmart card. It's guaranteed for city purposes and used for city purposes. Current management does not have access to these accounts. Now that your city secretary is no longer here, the city wasn't aware and unable to use points, or unaware, and they are not able to use the points on this card, which currently had accumulated by $53,312 or $533.12. We couldn't confirm that prior usage of points to the credit card was who or how they were used. We're just asking you that you set up a credit card through probably a state-backed agency. I gave Lynette some information, and so hopefully you guys can get that done. Currently, I think you're using debit cards, which the liability on debit cards are much greater than a credit card. A debit card, I could take your debit card and go over and charge up or withdraw cash or for a larger amount and you wouldn't get that money back, basically. On a credit card, if somebody fraudulently charged, you would be able to at least file a claim to try to get it.
And council, just so you know, that was what we had to do at the point because our previous employee had probably accounts or had the accounts in their name. So we had to come up with a solution for us to be able to kind of keep the city operational, and that was the easiest and the quickest way to be able to do that. So
With the debit card. Now
we had
to switch over to credit card.
Yep. So we had to keep the city going in some way.
Well, I think Tim and Matt actually had a conversation with them. She went to the bank last week and talked to them.
Thank you, Dave.
Payroll tax, you guys had overpaid payroll tax for $26,236. It's not really a big deal. We just thought we should let you know because that $26,000 could have been used to pay for something else while you were waiting for the refund. You have received the refund. Pledge collateral, you weren't getting, or we could find no evidence that you were getting collateral from the bank on a monthly basis sent over. So we contacted the bank. They kind of had a hard time finding it. So we just think you need to make sure that you have the pledge collateral sent to you monthly and ensure that you have a current depository agreement, because if your depository agreement is expired, the collateral pledged does not have to be paid if you are, the third party, which is not Lytle State Bank, but whomever, which in your case, I believe it was Security Service, or Frost, I'm sorry, Security Service is another city, would have to be paid or would not have to be paid. They would fight you basically on that. And with the situation with banks right now, you just want to be very, very careful. And then I already talked about the interest rates. Do you have any questions?
So you think, Debbie, how we doing?
You're improving every year. So I know that Lynette and all your staff put in a lot of work to get it to the point that we could audit it this year. And we are invasive. So I know their week that we were here was probably not pleasant for any of your, or maybe pleasant, but I'm sure they had to pull stuff for us and get ready for us and then still continue to do their current duties. So anyway, I want to thank them for actually being nice to us while they're here.
The next year will be a lot easier now.
Great.
So, how's that?
Any questions?
Council?
No material deficiencies?
No, not this year.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
I move that we accept the annual audit for fiscal year 2021.
Okay, got a motion on the floor for us to go ahead and set the audit as presented.
I would second that motion.
Got a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Once again, to echo the comments, Lynette, Matt, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Everybody, actually, City Hall, everybody stepped up and helped out. So really appreciate it. But Lynette, thank you. Did an outstanding job. Appreciate that.
And see, guys, it wasn't as good as boring
That
Wasn't too bad.
It was pretty boring.
was good.
Moderately boring.
All right, let's go ahead and keep moving on. Jump into B, consider and act upon the proposed drainage master plan prepared by Kimley Horn and Associates for Lakeshore Estates.
So council, this is the last item that we were working on, and I have a gentleman here from Kim Norm to go through the process with you. This has been reviewed by legal, and all changes that legal had has been accepted by Kimley Horn. We have that final document, which is what was emailed out to you. Part of that.
Good evening. My name is Damshi Konduru.
How you doing?
I'm a project manager with Kimley Horn. I understand we have some shallow flooding and drainage issues in the lakeshore subdivisions currently. And then we were approached to submit a proposal in order to see and understand the issues that are ongoing currently at this point. So we have here a proposal that talks about the scope of services. Throughout the course of the project, um, we'll be coordinating various agencies, including the city, to uh, make sure that they're all involved with the process. At the same time, get continuous updates at least once a month or so until the course of the project. We'll start the project with some data collection um, and essentially talk to various agencies, the city staff, Beard County or Tuscaloosa County, Medina County, all counties surrounding city of Lidle to see what information we could gather. Because drainage does not follow city boundaries, it follows watersheds. So there could be water flowing from other communities through Lidle and flowing out of Lidle as well, which is why it's important for us to identify all the municipal agencies that are not within Lidle but surrounding Lidle as well. So in order for us to do that, we have to do like a drainage master plan, which kind of identifies all the water flowing into Lidle, water flowing out of Lidle, especially with focus on the Lake Shores subdivision. Seems like the area when we looked at out there was pretty flat, so there was a lot of shallow flooding when it rains and whatnot coming in. And our initial analysis we kind of divided the analysis into like three different parts. One will be a very preliminary analysis just to identify what's really happening and identify where to focus. The second one would be once we identify focus areas, try to drill down a little bit more and further analyze the bottlenecks or where the water is essentially stopping or what's really causing it. And then the third step would be to understand what all can we do to fix the problem or identify a solution, or if not, find out some alternatives and figuring out what would be the best alternative, which will kind of go into project prioritization is as we go in and get all these drainage analysis done, we'll have a better understanding about what possible solutions would be better and what may not actually work as planned. And then we'll also have some preliminary OPCCs and cost estimating for all these alternatives, because essentially when we have a solution, sometimes there can be multiple solutions for a certain problem. And then the deciding factor usually would be funding to figure out what would be a cheaper and a better alternative. We'll be providing them as well. At the same time, Kimley Horn has a lot of experience with grant writing. So there could be a lot of federal and state grants out there, especially to deal with flooding problems. We'll identify those grants to figure out. A lot of them require the first step for any of those grant applications would be to develop a drainage master plan, which is what we're doing right now. Once the plan is in place and identifies all the costs and also accompanies that with the benefit cost analysis, which is usually a requirement for these grants, we'll be able to try to help the city identify some of those grants. It could be from FEMA, it could be from Texas Water Development Board, or it could be TechStar. There's multiple funding sources out there that we could reach out to in order to fund these projects. Finally, we'll close out everything with the report, put all the findings, analysis, observations, and results into a report, and it'll be submitting to the city.
Quick questions for you.
Yes, sir.
I know you spoke about how this master drainage plan, right, it's not just gonna be that area of town, right? It's the surrounding area, the area north of town, east, west, south of it. How is this gonna fit into the overall drainage plan? Because Kimley Horn, y'all are also working on our drainage utility.
We are.
So, of course, once we get that in place, probably gonna come back, right, after that's established, do a citywide
Absolutely.
drainage plan.
Right.
So, I guess, we're not gonna have to redo it. I guess that's my question, right? We do this, right, it's just gonna tie in one piece of the puzzle for the overall, city drainage plan.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, because, the water's gotta go somewhere, right? We fix it out there in Lakeshore, where's it gonna go?
Right.
We gotta put it somewhere, it's not just gonna disappear.
Right.
So, I don't know how much you looked at it, But where is that water gonna go once we get it flowing through Lake Shore?
I can answer that real quick. So the day they came down, we drove Lakeshore, and I drove them the route of kind of how the water flows. My biggest concern was County Road 681, because that's gonna be the first big bottleneck we reach. And then how it would flow through the city and ultimately up behind, subdivision on 35. Parkland. And then, ultimately down to 35, under 35, and then out that way.
And that's the water from Lake Shore.
Yes, the best we can tell, that's the semi-flow of how the water moves.
And there has been a change, council, just so you know, BMA has actually gone ahead and taken care of the rest of the canal. They have done a section. Now it extends to the back portion of the phase 2. So that canal, it was more for irrigation purposes, but for flood, you would get a lot of water. That is shut down now. So there'll be a lot less that goes into that neighborhood now that was coming through that, so that'd be part of the analysis. Council, if you like, on page 33 on what was submitted or what was sent to you, it has the tasks listed on there, task 1, 2, and 3, 4, all the way to 6. Very specific in a sense of what they're gonna be doing. So if you want to take a look at that, you kind of get a big picture of, there's quite a few things that they're going to be doing as part of this that goes along. But Charles, you bring up a good point in a sense of the coverage.
Well, of course, right, it's gonna flow back behind Park Place, it's gonna flow out of the city, and it's gonna converge south of the city off 3175. I mean, my thought process, and we've had multiple conversations on this, we don't wanna be flooding the people out in the county out, once we get everything flowing to the city like we should. Going back to what y'all submitted, the letter, on page 4, we talk about stuff that's not covered, right? The questions I had regarding that, were, when will a field survey, be necessary, and what will that cost us? I saw that was not included.
That is true. So after the first initial analysis, when we do a overall preliminary analysis, that's when we identify what infrastructure would need to be field surveyed. Because until we do the first task, we will not actually know what all field survey would be required. So typically, we use a combination of as-built data that the city may have for various projects and supplement that with field survey. So we'll need to, our data collection effort essentially go through the whole process to see who wants what, and then what information can we actually get, which doesn't require field survey, which will help us. This field survey is usually a little bit more expensive than data collection, than trying to find.
It won't be the entire subdivision, it's just
No.
identifying
Just
what's gonna benefit us the most.
that's usually just the drainage infrastructure, culverts, bridges.
And
Pond
I also
outfalls.
saw where, I guess you're gonna identify 5, right, and select 3.
Right.
But if we wanna add additional, let's say there are 5 that we wanna do, I guess that's another thing, is the additional cost, right? So what are we typically looking at here? I mean, it's just the scope of the work really to assess what the price is gonna be for that.
That's true.
Suppose, hey, we'll get to that later. I mean, I want perfect drainage throughout the city, right? But we don't have all the money in the world, as that audit showed us. But okay, so we can add stuff to it, but we're gonna get 3,
Right.
at least 3.
At least 3. And I think based on the size of the subdivision itself, 5 and 3 seem like a reasonable number for us, which is why we presented it that way.
Well, the last question I promise.
Yeah.
What's the timeline for completion of the drainage plan?
We have availability right now, but we were looking at about 6 to 8 months, if that works for you guys. We were initially planning on 8 months, but we can do a fast track and do 6 months if need be.
What, same cost?
Same cost, of course.
Just make sure. Make sure.
We'll be pretty busy with Kimley Horn over the next 6 to 8 months. We've got 3, the city's got 3 open projects with them right now that requires a lot of data for us to start looking for, gathering, and getting to them. Well, staff will be pretty busy with that.
Matter than that though, did we budget for this?
This is why we asked to liquidate that $250,000 CD.
Okay.
As these payments start to come in and they're needing to be made, that's when we start to liquidate that out. We're gonna leave it in as long as we can, to accumulate at less than 1% interest and move on from there.
Council? Any other questions?
I move that we accept the drainage master plan as prepared by Finley Horn Associates for Lake Shore Estates.
Okay, got a motion on the floor?
Second.
Second? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Get you working on that fast track, right?
Yes.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, sir. Appreciate it.
I'll sign it, you know.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to C, consider and act upon resolution number R 23-04 authorizing imposition of 20% penalty for recollection costs on delinquent city property tax accounts for a year 2022 and subsequent tax.
So council, as you know, we're trying to get our taxes transferred over to the county. The firm that collects their delinquent taxes asked if we had a copy of when we had previously approved this. Our current city secretary unfortunately isn't able to locate that, so they asked that we just reapprove it. So that's for you tonight, it's reapproved in that.
Just we can make it a matter of record.
And that's what it's been, correct?
That's what it's all, yeah.
It used to be 15, but now it's, okay, that is what it's.
So do we need to rewrite the resolution?
The resolution was provided in the pack. That is the resolution that we got from their legal. And Jesse, y'all, it came through Jesse and him, so.
Okay, Matt, the 20%, that's what's allowed by law, right, in tax code. We don't have to set it at 20%. And, I would make the argument that we don't necessarily set it as high because this is not, the 20% is not money that the city pays, that's from the taxpayer. In my experience is that people fall behind on the property taxes because they're going through hard times, So, we're still gonna get our penalty and interest if they become delinquent. This is just more money that they're having to pay to settle up, so it makes it harder for them.
It normally doesn't come in until June or July,
Yeah, no,
Right.
it kicks in, attorney's fees kick in July 1st.
July 1st.
Penalty and interest kicks in February 1st.
So, and I've done this a lot, so you try to pay, you're not, but so basically you want to pay your taxes before July 1st, or they hit you with that 20%, which can be substantial. And I've paid it before because it's separated, just sometimes you don't have the money.
So just a reminder, so the ordinance, the way it has been, it says on there, authorize the city of Lido to provide for compensating an attorney up to 20%. So there's flexibility.
However y'all want to, just, I believe with the previous delinquent taxes, it was 20%.
So,
Well, what is the attorney, and again, I hate interjecting here, but I've paid a lot of delinquent taxes. The firm collecting our taxes is normally gonna tell you what, you're gonna have a contract with them, what they're gonna get, right?
The firm, you mean the county collecting our taxes?
Well, no, the law firm that collect, so, because
I mean,
somebody
the county-
normally,
It's going to the county and it is part of the county contract we're signing with them. Lineberger is gonna be, not, is Lineberger? Yeah, they're gonna be the delinquent tax collector attorney.
and Lineberger gets the 20%, right?
Yeah, that's where it
Okay.
goes.
So
Do they
with
have somebody
Lineberger-
here tonight?
No, they do not. But it's up to the county, we can go up to 20%.
But would Lineberger collect it for 12%? That's the issue. I mean, I don't think they would. I've never paid 12%, but would pay more.
Why don't you pay your taxes on time?
Because everybody don't have a lot of money. I got a lot of kids I'm trying to feed.
This came,
That's your choice.
this came through our attorney to us, like you saw it, I mean, I'm not the attorney firm, but I would be remiss to say they probably want 20, they're gonna want the max they could get, like anybody else, but it's up to the council and whatever y'all choose to do. We can change it to whatever y'all want.
Well, it's like I said, those people, there's a reason that they're not paying their taxes. It's gonna have a little sympathy. We're still gonna get our money in the
Yes, sir.
city.
Jesse, is this what you normally see or seen before?
Lineberger is one of the largest tax collection firms across the state. They specialize in this area. This is their ordinance or resolution, I think it's.
They produced it at 20%.
It doesn't affect that, I mean, does it affect
What do y'all see in other cities do? Are other cities doing 15 or most are staying at the 20?
I think they pretty much just approve what Whataburger does, because many of them are collected by the county at the county level, and it's usually the county agreement that controls it. So the cities just join those agreements for the purpose of tax.
So everything I've paid, and I've paid delinquent taxes in numerous jurisdictions in the last 10 years, it's always the max. It's either 15%, and when it went to 20, it's 20%. Just so you know.
That's good.
Because it is up to.
It's one thing I know about delinquent taxes.
Can we set chiefs lower than everybody else's?
No,
You can't do that.
I'd like to say it's even higher.
You know,
Getting to pay it on time.
No, I mean, my dealings with Lombard, they're a nationwide law firm, and they're a $1 billion law firm. They've net $1 billion a year in fines across the country.
So it looks like we were doing 10% in the past.
No.
We were doing 10, that's when I was paying out. So we're gonna jump it up another 10%.
No, I don't think.
How far?
Yeah, but if we were doing 10, why was Richie getting
No,
charged?
it's, yeah, we haven't
So
been doing
I
10.
don't think it's 10. I
No,
think it was pretty much the same. I remember the previous one that was put in front of the council, and it was the same thing. It was up to 20%.
the law allowed them about, Jesse, do you remember, was it a number of years ago, the law allowed them to go up to 20? Because I thought it used to be capped at 15.
It may have been.
That could have been 10, 15 years ago, I don't know. But whenever the law, what I recall, when the law went up, everybody just went up as well. You know, that's just the way it was.
So council, this is important for us to be able to take care of within our county too, just so we can go ahead and get things aligned up. And the whole county is actually following with them, right?
Yeah, if Atascosa County, most of the cities that use Atascosa County are using Lombard.
I'll say one more thing and I'll shut up. Keep in mind, this does not affect this is only if your taxes come due January 1st and you don't pay them till July. So if a person needs a little month or two, you're just paying the regular penalty and interest.
You know what, though, that's
It's
not
not-
necessarily the case, though, because I know that the previous contracts that Linebarger has drafted, they make it, there's a provision where they collect attorney's fees before July 1st.
Well, that's what I'd like to know.
I'd be really interested to see if that's what they're doing with Atascosa County. I haven't seen it recently, but the last time I looked at it, that they're getting paid attorney's fees February 1st. I don't agree with it, that's the law, I don't know how that loophole, there's some loophole that they have. So I'd like a little clarification on what we paid in the past. I see no reason, because I will tell you this in dealing with them, that they have no sympathy for our residents. There's not gonna be some, hey, you know me sort of deal.
So I'm,
They don't care.
it's kind of all, I see, I'm doing, I'm in the system now, it's anywhere between 9% all the way up to 12%. It's kind of just jumping all over the place, unless the contract was changed every year.
I think it was always, it may have been up to, again, a percentage, and so, again, it would be fact specific as to the collection.
I went all the way back to like 2016, and it was at 9% in 2016. It's all over, but then in 2021, it jumped to 12, and then back down to 20. So
Because if you look on your tax statement, Charles, you've seen millions of them, right? Thousands of them, right?
I can't count that.
But it says on there, subject to a 15% penalty, and then it went to 20% penalty on the tax thing. I've never seen it say anything but 15 or 20.
It changed about 6 years ago, I have to look it up. They were authorized to collect more. Probably 10 years, I don't know.
I'm sorry.
The past decade, let's put it that way.
So do we know the date for delinquency?
When did taxes go delinquent?
February
That-
1st.
yeah.
Attorney's fees kick in July the 1st.
July, yeah.
But then,
Delinquent as of February 1st, and then the attorney fees kicked in the summer.
Starting February 1st, they have to pay a little bit more every month.
They
Pay
just pay the
them
penalty and interest.
then, and then things kick in July.
In July, if you don't collect, that's when you get the letter from them and the additional 20%.
Each month it goes up a certain percentage, right?
Yes,
So that we have to pay in December, and then December, January, and then this year we had to wait till March, paying, so we pay a little bit more.
Has the county collected our taxes yet?
Not yet. We're still working on clearing up the last couple items before they'll take them over. We had a lot of cleaning up to do, refunds.
and whenever they do take over the collection, are they still gonna be offering that rebate, that 3% rebate? That we currently have been offering in the past, if you pay your taxes in October, you like 3%.
I believe I believe they said yes. I can get back, I'd have to go find the contract that we got with them. If that came in, it was right when I first started or right before I started, but I remember eventually getting a contract from them.
Do we get a discount?
Yeah, that's what it's saying.
I thought the city was gonna collect taxes and then the delinquency was gonna go to the county.
No, we were getting out of collecting property taxes altogether. We're gonna send it to Addis County and let them collect all of our property taxes.
Oh, okay. I
That's
was
what we were gonna
under
do.
the impression that it was the city and then followed by the county.
We were in a
So
contract
it's
with them.
important
to
that
do
we
it.
do get that discount, because I do take advantage of that.
If I remember right, I was part of that, I'm almost positive Margaret said yes, that was gonna be
Can
part of
you
it.
verify
I
that?
absolutely-
I remember when we first started
Right.
talking about turning
It
this
was
over to the
pretty much gonna
county,
mirror what.
one of the hitches was that they would not give the 3%. And the question was, do we want to turn this over to them and hurt citizens who pay early every year?
They weren't gonna give the early discount.
That we gave it, but the county wasn't going to honor the same discount that we gave. I remember it, somewhere in the
Let us look
discussion.
up the paper.
So why don't we do this, council? Why don't we go ahead and table this for the next meeting? So if I can get a motion for us to go ahead and table, and that gives us a chance to go ahead and get the
Now,
information.
we'll table this and investigate further before the meeting.
Got a Motion for us to go ahead and table this item? Got a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right. We'll get all of our stuff ready and bring it back to council. That'll be good.
I'll try to find the previous.
That'll be good. Okay, here we go. D, consider and act upon adopting ordinance number 23-05, instituting a homestead exemption from taxation for all residents of the city of Lytle in the amount of 20% of the appraised value of their homestead property, but not less than $5,000 as provided by the Texas Tax Code, section 11.13N.
This was one of Mr. Kate's deal, but I'll tell you, we last approved this in July of 22, but we were too late to get it to take into effect. And talking to legal, it's there, it's still active, but we can just reapprove it again, just to reaffirm in our stance if that's what the council wants to do. Mr. Kate, is that?
I mean, do we even need to reapprove it? I mean, my question, of course, was, I was just requesting an update on where it was, because I hadn't seen anything in regards to that previously. I think it was July 11th last year. Michael made the motion, Sam seconded, that we were gonna go ahead and offer that for, it's just the residents with the homestead exemption. It's not everybody. It was kind of done as to offset the increase in appraised value, increase in utility rates, increase in tax rates. And we just kind of incentivize people moving to Lytle, call them Lytle home.
And it's going up again. I think that my president went up again. So I would ask that we reapprove it. So we've got a current one that is signed and documented that we have on file.
We got a number associated with it too.
So, I was asked to look into that by,
Yeah, so Charles, I want to thank you for bringing this back up because I did make the motion and we did agree on it. And based with legal's advice, we did set those values. But I did ask Lynette if she could take a look and give us an analysis on what impact it would have on our taxes.
so overall, we only have 566 residents that have even applied for the
Homestead.
Yeah. So it's not as big an impact as I thought, and I still need to extrapolate a little bit more of it, but I don't see it being more than like 72,000 is what I came up with right now, and that's a very rough number.
But that's under the previous tax rate.
Yeah.
Previous.
So even with the new tax rate, we're gonna be paying more than that, even with the increased values and everything. So I don't think we're missing out on half a more.
I'm sorry, 86,540. So it seems like there is a lot of individuals in the city that have not applied for their homestead. They probably don't understand.
Be something to go ahead and put on different platforms to get the information out.
So Jesse, this can come up every year,
No, usually it's just approved once and it's.
but it can be brought back up and amended if needed.
Sure, just like any other ordinance, yes, it could, but it's not necessary to do so.
Well,
In
I'm
order
just
to-
saying that because Lidle being in the city, the size that we are, a lot of our income does come from taxes, so I just want to make sure we stay on top of it. The initial motion was for 20 with a minimum of 5,000. So what do we need here? We just need to,
Basically, a reapproval, so we have an
I'd
reaction.
like to approve the ordinance, again, we've had some difficulty in finding previous ordinances that were designed for it.
So, and we got a number associated, we started doing that now, so it makes it a lot easier.
okay, Mayor, so I would like to make the motion to approve ordinance number 223-05, instituting homestead exemption from taxation for residents of the city of Lidle. The amount of 20% of the appraised value of their homestead property, but not less than 5,000, as provided by the Texas Tax Code, Section 2.13.
A motion on the floor? Second. Okay, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed?
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank Thank you, appreciate that. Okay. See if we can go ahead and take care of one more, and then we'll go ahead and break. E, discuss and consider and take appropriate action on possible relocation of bond funds designated for street improvements and to reallocate the funds towards proposed water and sewer system improvements.
This was a item for Mr. Tate.
Yeah, this is another item, and, Matt and I talked about this briefly last week. I believe it was back in December that y'all had chosen the streets to get worked on. I'm looking at the map here, and of course, I'm not pushing to not get these streets paved. My thought behind this is that we have three major water system projects to be working on. Right now, they're still with TRC. And then from there, they're gonna go to TCEQ for approval. And then we'll go off for bid. And I think what we've seen here in the past 2 years in particular is that the cost of everything has risen exponentially. And my big concern, of course, is being able to get these projects constructed with the funds from that certificate obligation that we got last year. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not looking to not pave these streets. I want to pave all the streets. I like to pave all the streets in Golden Mile if I could. But I would just ask that we hold off on pulling the trigger on these streets until we find out what the final cost is going to be for these projects. So that's why I brought it for the council.
How long would you expect the delay to be? Months or?
It's probably going to be 6 months.
Yeah, I would imagine 6-8 months by the time we work through the last little snafus that legal wants to clean up in the water contract, get all that authorized and signed. They draw it all up, get TCEQ approval, and then we send it out to bid and then open bids.
So we're at the end of the fiscal year already.
That would be into next fiscal year for sure. Whereas the street one is ready to go.
Have
Now.
we already did the engineering on the streets, right?
Yeah, the engineer's already done some work, yes, sir. There are some costs associated with that.
And how much was that?
21-ish thousand, 26,000, I don't know what the number is, somewhere there.
And have we approved the contract yet?
No, that hasn't gone to bid yet. We are ready to send it out to bid now. I got the final okay with legal Friday, I think it was Friday, so they reviewed everything.
we paid that 20-some thousand for that.
We haven't paid the full 26,000.
But they've done work.
They've done some work, yeah, they've done the majority of the work, yes.
That's still gonna be good though. So one,
Yes, it'll still be good, and then the issue is, just like Mr. Kate's saying, everything is going up, so if we delay streets, then, we get less streets done. I don't disagree with Mr. Kate, everything that is going out for bid, unfortunately, at times is going up. If we don't know those costs, we can just operate on what the engineers give us, and then the direction of the council. My last direction from council was the streets, and that's where we are today. If council chooses otherwise, I can tell either one, stop on this, move this, however you want to do it.
I know
We
that
paid 3,000 out so far to TRC on
For
this.
sure. Yeah, they'll have more, but
Well,
on the
that's what-
engineering,
for just the engineering portion.
um, lost my train of thought.
So the thing for consideration is, when we went out and we had the discussions about street improvement, we said we were gonna do them, and we're gonna take care of them. There's not one opportunity I go out and talk to individuals and they bring up the concerns that they have about certain streets. Some streets are associated to projects that are gonna happen in the future, and those will be aligned with other aspects, but some of the streets is just basically, it's part of the list of the streets that we need to take care of. Like the council consider too, anything that we don't do this year, we miss out the window. Once again, you're looking until next year for us to be able to get there. And some of our streets need attention, without a doubt.
My only concern is when we got the bond money, we had public hearings. Now, we didn't have anybody show up, of course, but we talked about that bond money was for these type of projects, street improvements being one of them. I do think, the average citizen does understand that costs go up and other things, and you have to prioritize and move things around. But you'll probably have some other residents that say, no, when you got the bond money, we didn't say anything because you said you were doing streets, and now so.
When, I'm thinking that when they were talking about the bond and how much we needed and how they allocated, I think if I remember correctly, they figured in potential inflation.
They did.
Because they knew there was a 1 to 2 year lag period from when we get the money and get all the preliminary work done to actually start buying bits and pieces, right?
Yes, sir. They did, but I do agree, when you bid things, it all depends on how hungry somebody is for work, how much work is out there. We've seen some things bidding higher. I remember back in the day, you bid this and you didn't like the bid, so you rebid it again, you could get it a little lower sometimes. Unfortunately, that hadn't been the case.
So we didn't up the price of it. So we had set amounts that we did. So we knew we were gonna do 1 million in streets or here or whatever. We can change it. We can put it in any capital projects that we want, but it's more of like Charles and what if we promise the people what we're gonna do, and that's where.
We can
I'm going as
spend
well.
the 8.5.
Because some of the biggest complaints I get here in the city are, my car is gonna get, torn up with the potholes. So, but then again, we need sewer, so it's.
well,
It's
quick question for James. How old are these elevated storage tanks?
I believe say at least 50 years old.
So I mean, the mindset behind, when Craig Bell was in here a month ago and asked him to come back with what it's gonna cost us for the half a million gallon tanks, right? That tank, whether it's 250 or 500,000, that's gonna last us 50 years. And 70% of our residents are gonna be on that east side of 35. In District 4, they're gonna be relying on water pressure. So if we don't have enough water pressure, that's gonna be a bigger issue. I mean, you can't eat asphalt, you can try, right? You can't drink asphalt. And I understand that people, they wanna have smooth roads, they don't wanna have potholes, right? But that's what they see. That's why, one of the things that a municipality provides is water systems. Yes, we provide streets too, but water and sewer, no one else is gonna do that. So, I mean, at the bare minimum, we've done it in the past, right? We've pushed back working on streets and we have more money. last year, we had $250,000 that we put on our streets. What was that amount? Or it was 200,000?
It was 232,000.
230. And I don't disagree with Mr. K saying one bit.
And I'm not saying, like I said,
It's an important project.
hey, these projects come in, we can get them all done, fantastic. But
Well,
we get one shot to build them.
are you suggesting we do no roads this year, or? are you
I'm not
suggesting
saying that at all. I'm saying
prioritize
we hold
some
off
roads?
until we get what it's gonna cost us, because we don't know what it's gonna cost us yet.
If we hold off through this summer, we lose a year.
It's
We're
a
in
year.
the Summer of next year.
It's a year.
These projects are gonna go the next 50 years though. The elevated storage tank is gonna provide water for those people for 50 years, water pressure.
And all that is taken into consideration as part of our engineers' inputs and what we look at.
And what do they recommend as far as prioritizing water systems or streets?
I didn't ask them what they prioritize, this is just the projects that the council prioritized.
That went through us, they got in front of us, we looked at everything, we designated amounts based on the areas of balancing it out, so. I'm not saying that the water or anything, but we went across the board and we looked at the different things that the city needs and we designated amounts. And that's what we communicated as part of our certificates of obligation. So I think we need to follow that and be able to take care of that.
What I
Now,
heard,
we do have a new budget coming up, okay? Remember, I'm only a month away from starting a new budget for the city. We have other options coming up with this, the new C-store, they're saying they're gonna be done with that truck stop soon. Hopefully that's gonna generate more money to come in that we can put into the roads as well.
You know, we talked about the fines, right, the increase in fines.
Yes, yes.
And one of the four things that fine money can be used for is roads.
Right.
Roads, bridges, culverts, and what?
Richie snacks.
Richie snacks.
but I think I heard
That's what he
several of you say we have the flexibility to move that certificate of obligation money around as long as it's capital improvements, right?
Yep. And talking in bond council, the email I got back from them in response was, yes, you could move, you could take some money out of this to put over here as long as it stayed within that capital.
Okay.
Could we move some of it just for the water, just in case, and not all of it? Are you asking for all of it to be reallocated or just pause the whole
I'm just
thing?
saying, hold off till we get a better idea of what it's gonna cost us.
You gotta
When is
remember,
the-
only
when
a
are the
million
roads-
went to streets though, too.
When are the streets supposed, when is the work supposed to start?
It's ready to be bid now.
You know, they will start.
But
So once-
when is
once
the
we
time of which where?
Summer.
it's-
They would pay during the summer typically.
How many,
So
how
it'll
many
start June?
Yeah, I mean, it's all dependent on the contractor too, whoever gets selected,
And how much money are we expecting to spend on it?
call it 600,000.
Can we get the recommendation from our engineer? What would you prioritize here?
If that's what the council wants.
I mean, we could at least have that at another meeting and not decide tonight, because I'd like to know too, which is the most important to us right now. Because I don't want to be without water myself, just saying.
Okay, let me stop that. Okay, let me stop. I don't want the
I
fear
don't think
factor.
I'm gonna be without
There's,
water.
there's
I'm just saying.
nothing out there, the data shows right now that we are more than capable of taking care of sustainability of where we're at right now with water and sewer where we're at. Everything that we're doing right now is to be able to take care of us as we actually grow. There's nothing right now that shows, hey, we're worried we're gonna lose water here in the next year, 2 years, 5 years. We just put a brand new well online. We have more than capacity of being able to have the water that we actually need. Do we have projects to be able to support the growth? Yes. And that's what was part of the certificates of obligation. I just don't want anybody to think that the city is in a position where we're actually don't have the capacity of being able to take care of what our needs are based on the growth that we actually have.
So what the mayor's saying, when TRC laid these projects out, it was with the knowns of what was coming in on that side of town, and they designed it
That's what we're
to that. Where we're betting on, we pay the engineer, here's the knowledge we have of these subdivisions, what do we need to do with infrastructure?
I think the infrastructure capacity report from 2019, it didn't include Rosewood or Harris Trailer Park, so did it? You had Lytle Farms.
Not at the time,
South
but
Ridge.
once we started these projects,
These
they were
projects.
the knowns of this stuff, and this is where they chose that we needed to move forward.
So like I said, we talked to Craig about a month ago, and he said he's gonna come back. Craig, got any ideas on what increased capacity elevated tank would?
Not yet, we haven't bid it. I did talk to him briefly about, instead of doing a metal like what we currently have, the metal lake tank, since this is gonna be on 35 and kind of a gateway to the city, to maybe do the concrete type structure, and they're seeing those bid in the $3 million range. So we'll bid it, just to be on the safe side, but we're gonna bid metal as well. What we currently have, they'll be bid at the 250 mark and then the next stage up. So that way we have physical or in hard numbers to look at, and if we want to increase that, you know, we've got the money, or we can go from a 250 to a 500, or we can only
What
afford
was the original probable cost on that elevated tank?
I think it was 1.5.
And now it's not 1.5. That's my concern, is that, you know, I get it. I get what you're saying, Mayor. We need to get the streets taken care of. Saying let's hold off 3 months until we get these probable costs.
We're gonna miss out on this year. We're gonna miss out on this year.
Mayor, I'm looking at, okay, these streets, I live on Bloom Drive. That street does not need to be repaved. It's not a high volume street. Easy Street, not high volume. You know, Gray Street, not a high, you know, these streets that are high volume, the only one that is probably a high volume street is a section right now downtown between Somerset and Prairie on Railroad Street. Just because of all the commercial stuff we got going on down there. Like I said, I want all these streets to be nice, but looking at TxDOT data, you know, we're taking Railroad Street all the way to the city limits. What is the total linear feet on that, Matt? Because I don't see it on here.
It ran from the north city limits of Bear County all the way down to the Veterans Park. It would be all of Railroad Street.
Yeah, that's,
And it was,
the TxDOT numbers are saying that there's 787 cars that travel that a day. You know, it's,
James, you got something?
Yeah, they're gonna tear up Railroad Street from Prairie to McDonald Street.
we're working, as part of the contract, if the water line that's going in is in conflict with that, then they would hold off that section until construction's over and then come back in and pave it after that. But they're still working out if there's enough room in the easement to get the water line in and not affect
Railroad Street,
a new paved road.
from everything that is going on with our construction around here, Railroad Street has actually gotten busier. We've getting a lot of folks that are actually using that as a way to be able to get into 35 and be able to avoid. So you have a lot more vehicles that are using that road now to get around town and to be able to get going north on that one.
We need to look at the bridge improvement if we're gonna do Railroad Street too. I mean, I think those are pretty narrow out there. One of them's not marked very well, right, James?
Yeah, they're too narrow.
We had a fatality out there, you know, many years ago, a friend of mine, but we do need to make sure that we're looking at the bridge improvement out there. Because you're gonna see, I was here when they paved Railroad Street. You remember where that was, Matt, 15 years ago? I mean, it was a hot rod slip out there. I mean, it was nice. But we still have issues with bridges that need to be looked at too.
You're talking about where the drainage is out there.
Well, I'm talking about actually structural we need to make sure they're up to current standards.
There's no guardrails.
There's no
out there.
guardrail stuff, and so we need to make sure those are up to the current.
And there's other streets around town that we need to do that. And we got one project right now that we're still not done with the guardrails too. So totally understand that. So I want to make sure that we kind of stay focused with this and what the agenda item is. This is for us to go ahead and take appropriate action for reallocation of the fund funds designated. So this is the possible action on there. So
Which
Council?
have taken into account inflation, correct? That's what you said, right?
I mean, that's what the engineers actually put on
So
there
we
for
don't have
us.
anything to worry about, is my understanding.
Wow, there's no guarantee.
But yeah, there's no guarantee, but
I won't guarantee it will come in on budget.
we should.
We talked about all these things, we approved all these things, we went through the whole bond, certificate of obligation, and got all the numbers and worked with the financial people to ask for what we needed and what we could afford. And we basically told the city we'll fix the roads this year. So I'm inclined to keep doing what we're doing, get the roads done. And we have two big new businesses coming in, and it will be increased revenue. Every house that goes in out there, you won't tax from. So I said bet on the comment, let's keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, I agree with Dave that we have an obligation to our citizens as council members. We have talked about these, we brought these up. If we do need to allocate more money, then we've got budget coming up. We could do that then. If we feel like it needs to be focused elsewhere. But up to this point, we have spent a lot of time and effort, and I honestly believe that when we open up these items for the public, somebody has a negative opinion or a complaint, they're gonna come in. People that don't come in is because they agree. That's my feeling on it. So I agree with David. I think we need to stay focused.
And how many streets are we paving?
It was.
Do you have the list?
Yes, sir, it was
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
those are all the ones we're gonna put out to bid. If they all fall within the range, great. If they're over, then we come back and council tells me I wanna do that one for that, like that one for that, like that. When we figure out how many we can fit in that 600. We're gonna ask for every road that the council gave me a list for.
Did you make that list available to council?
Yeah, it went out to everybody, and then it was the same list that everybody here that night approved, and we wrote down.
Okay. Because I know at one point you asked each council member to make their wish list. And that includes that.
Every street that was given to me as part of that wish list went on this list.
So you hadn't sent it out. Okay, I didn't look at it.
I can see you the entire packet, it's 146 pages.
Oh, it's that big. Okay.
Yeah, it's a very large one.
Okay.
Just yesterday on social media, I saw folks complaining about our streets and somebody talked to the city council, do something. What street were they talking about? I have to look it up.
They were talking about the extension of Somerset that runs down to the county maintenance where they're putting the Harris Park. And we're not doing that one because there's
a
gonna
lot
be
of
major
rain.
work done down there when Harris comes in.
Well, we're still working on that, but I can tell you the reason that one didn't make this list, it was talked about, is we need to do major drainage work. That is probably a series of obligation project in and of itself, because of how much it would
Yeah, I
cost
wanna
to
know
be
what
drained.
it says depending on their, I won't mention any names, but if you wanna know what it says.
Yeah, what street?
It says Lattimore really needs to do some work on their road, especially 4175 between Main Street and I-35 access road and between McDonald's and Taco Bell. These roads are tearing up our vehicles and are both main thoroughfares and keep getting worse. That's the gist.
Yeah, Lytle Somerset, 3175, that's what it
Any comments agreeing on that?
No, I mean,
Look,
y'all pick these streets, that's great choices on the streets. But, we got one shot for increased capacity on the other stores now, so that's why we're at council though, so. If y'all wanna do that, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we take no action on these.
Okay, got a motion for us to take no action on this?
yes, sir.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Let's go ahead and go on break. It's 8:13. Let's go ahead and take a 15-minute break. There you go. You see? You got yours. You're lucky for bingo.
It's called lucky.
There you go. You see? It does work. It does work.
What's that?
Okay, let me go back.
Oh, I don't.
Oh, thank you, sir. All right.
Just say Lynette Colonel.
Yeah, we still got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
We got 3 more minutes. We still got 3.
Oh, you're muted again. I thought we were- It's on. Too late. It's always on, James. Just whether it's recording audio.
Well, I ate the man. Excellent, excellent panel. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Lynette.
29, we got 1, 2, 3, we got everybody here. We got everybody here. So, okay.
vacation. I may come back.
Hey, Lynette, if you can go ahead and show us 8:29, since everybody's here, we'll go ahead and get started. Jump right back into the agenda. So let's go ahead and move on. Council F, discuss and consider possible action on request from former city secretary to retrieve additional personal items from city hall buildings. So,
Okay, I can give a brief counsel. It was an item for Mr. Kate. I don't know if he wants to brief first.
I just had a, phone call in from Josie saying that she still had some stuff down there that she wanted to get back, so that's why it's on there.
So council, the backstory is when she retired from the city, there were a lot of items that we believe were hers still here. Staff has worked to get her as much of the items back that we could identify, ultimately giving her back roughly 5 truckloads of personal property that we believe were hers, no questions asked, out of good faith. And I've always told her we gotta continue going through everything. We've since been through the entire office that we think we have found everything that's hers. I've always said, provide us with a list of what you're looking for. We've yet been supplied that list. And then, I'm gonna hand these out while I'm talking. And then the other morning, the other night, I didn't see it till the morning, I received a text from her again, asking for her property, and we were gonna get it to her. Again, my response to her was, I believe we've given you everything that we can identify. Please supply us with a list of what else you need. Still hadn't received that list. She, I guess, was able to get a hold of all the councilmen, and one of the councilmen was able to get a description that we've been asking for a specific item. Once we had that description, staff was able to find that specific item. Again, no questions asked. We gave it back. So working through legal, we drafted the letter that you see in front of you that was given to her, just giving her till March 30th to give us. No, I'm sorry, that was it. Giving her till May 4th, 30 days, to give us a list of what it is she is looking for. And until then, because the only thing I've been told is decorations. The decorations were mine. You'll see attached to the back of this just one receipt from Walmart from our credit card that shows Easter decorations we purchased. At this point, I can't go through and say that all the decorations are hers. There are decorations the city has had and been in use in the 20 years that I've worked here. They've always been displayed here. They've been used for events throughout the city. It's under my assumption, they belong to the city. They've been stored here and they've been used for city events. If they were somebody's personal items, they should have been tagged as such or not stored here in the city, I guess. I don't know really what else we can do. We were given an open records request for a list of all personal property in the city. We've answered that and given it back to the person so they can go through that and try to identify. I've been asked if they can just come in here, the previous city secretary asked if she can just come in here and just tell me, that's mine, that's yours, that's mine, that's we can't do that. That's not a normal practice for anyone to do. And I don't know how we prove or disprove what she's telling us at this point. Yes, sir.
You mentioned several times 5 truckloads, define truck, like the back end of a full-size pickup truck?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The back end of a full-size pickup, fully loaded. Staff has been in here on our days off, going there, no cost to the city. We came in and went through these items. Almost every single item that was in the back office that I'm in now, that office and that storeroom has been given back to her. And all the items throughout the city that we know, like I said, it was 5 truckloads worth of stuff.
You just said throughout the city. Does that mean?
Well, I say throughout City Hall here.
Okay, were the things stored in other locations in the city that were hers, that she explained?
She alleged that
Like
there's
in
storage
the
items
office?
down at the community center annex building. I've been inside that building. There's a ton of decorations, our Christmas lights throughout the years, a bunch of city records. Again, until I can get a list of something that person is specifically looking for that we can then try to find, I don't know how to say every decoration is yours. If that's the case, we got a bunch of old reindeers and a bunch of city decorations that we can drop off.
So
at
Matt,
that
when
council.
did we take those truckloads? Do you remember? It was in the summer?
Oh, Lord. James, do you remember when that was? It was sometime in the summer,
Towards fall, wasn't
or maybe
it? In the summer.
it was so much that the previous city secretary rented 1 storage unit and said, I'm done because this one's full. And I said, unfortunately, no, we're still loading up. You got it. So she had to rent a second one. Since then, we found more and delivered another truckload or 2 in that time frame. Just as we found it, said, hey, here's some more, please return this.
And from that time is when you've been mentioning, give us a list, if she kept asking? Okay.
And again, we've given official notice, please deposit the list. But my response when I said giving the list, the response was, well, you would know more of what the city owns than I do.
Now, what's our current policy for whenever somebody resigns, retires, gets fired, for personal items to be removed from their office? What happens, if chief resigns tomorrow?
Well, let me,
Gonna leave this stuff in there? I guess I bring that up because she resigned, in June of last year? And here we are, talking about, well, it's not cost the city any money. It has cost us money because you had to confer with legal on this. I mean, the man hours that have been spent, I feel like it far exceeded the value on those items, right? It's like what, $1,000 of stuffed animals sort of deal? I mean,
I couldn't give you a value
my thing is that we've spent plenty of time and money on this already, and we got more important things to be working on as a city.
I agree with you, yes, sir.
And of course, the only reason that I put it on the agenda is because, the prospect, the threat of possible litigation arose, and that's gonna cost us even more. So I want to avoid the embarrassment to the city to have to deal with something like this, So I think the takeaway is to get a policy in place where somebody resigns, you give them 2 weeks to get their stuff, and that's it. There's none of this back and forth for a year sort of deal. It's going on what, 10 months now.
But you should also use this as a personal storage space too.
Hey, she's gone, but moving forward though, we need a
Yeah.
policy in place if we don't have one. Get your stuff.
I mean, at other big companies, you don't bring in more than you can take out in a box. You don't, that's just the way we do.
All I can tell council is everything that we could identify in asking questions to previous staff members that were here, that they said that is hers, we've given back. Unless you tell me to give it back, decorations. I don't know what that means. If that's that's the case, I can give her back all the deck. You tell me how you want to move forward, and we can give back every decoration I can find in the city. But it's, I mean,
Is there still stuffed animals here? Because that's what you told me that,
sure, and I see in the receipt that stuffed animal is a city purchase, and a city credit card.
because you said that, she had ordered some gifts from her sister, two sisters, when I was passed away. Several years back.
Every stuffed animal that was stored in her previous office, in the area that she said is her secondary and third office, were given back to her. All the other stuffed animals that we found throughout the city, I can't prove to her. Now, if we found it was a Winnie the Pooh, we gave it back to her.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what.
I don't know, but if she wants stuffed animals, and you tell me to give back every stuffed animal I can find, I'm looking for council's direction. I can't give it back because I can't prove the city didn't buy it. If that's the case, what stops her from saying that chair is?
You got proof that the city did buy stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I've got proof that the city purchased some stuffed
I
animals.
agree with that.
I hear you saying that that you've taken almost 2 storage buildings full of stuff back. Are we gonna bill her for equivalent value of 2 storage rooms for the past 30, 40 years? I'm being a bit facetious, but she used City Hall as a storage room. I was in her office when she couldn't use it as an office. And it honestly looked much like a hoarder's house. And you cleaned it out, so you know that. So
So
I
Paul
would
and I went
move
through
that
the
we follow legal's advice, and after May the 4th, this issue's closed.
Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
I'll second that motion.
So what are you asking for, a list, Matt, of everything that
That's what we
you had
A detailed,
accumulated over 46 years?
a detailed list and any supporting documents,
Receipts.
proving ownership receipts, photos with it. something.
What's the IRS requirement on a receipt retention?
I have no idea, sir.
Well, on something personal, it wouldn't.
Years? Yeah, but there's, probably doesn't
So I
have.
mean, that's my thing, is like, hey, I couldn't even give you a list of what's in my own home, right? So it's like, hey, you asked me for a list. I don't care. Take all the decorations that you want to do. I was never a fan of them. That's my position on it. I'm just tired of dealing with this issue.
So Paul and I went and looked, I just want you all to know, we went back and we went through everything, and we have pretty much given her back any, stuffed animal there was. We didn't want to keep them, it's cluttered. We wanted it all gone. So there's not a lot of, there was like one duck, that we found the duck and got the duck back to her, but the rest of it, all the stuffed animals are gone. We wanted them gone.
Nobody wants all that
I
crap.
can't give her a police escort to go and look for stuff and say, hey, well, I bought that in '87 or something like that.
We were advised by legal, didn't know.
He said, she said.
Yeah. We'll have the list.
She can point to this gavel and say she bought this.
I mean, let's be realistic though. Here's a woman with hundreds of millions of dollars in city funds over her career here. She's gonna be nickel and dime us for decorations. I mean, I'm in the opinion that, hey, she says that's hers, I'm gonna believe her at that. Like I said, I'm done with this matter. I brought it, put it on the agenda so we could talk about it, but it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that we're talking about this right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, got a motion, got a second, any further discussion?
On May the 4th.
One more thing, moving forward, I would like to see if the city could implement some kind of rule to limit or prohibit employees of purchasing personal items to be used by the city. I understand bringing in your own clock radio, bringing in picture frames for personal use, I understand that. But when you're bringing in items that the city's gonna use, that's a big no-no. That should never be allowed by any employer.
To add to that, can we work on getting that implemented too? If somebody resigns or is fired, whatever, that they have a set time period to remove,
I can work with legal.
Any personal property, from, city-owned buildings.
We'll make an amendment to the handbook.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me go ahead and tackle one first, and the first one is with follow the legal advice with what we're doing with the list. I had a motion, I had a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Second one that was mentioned is for us to go ahead and approve or to update the handbook for us to be able to provide specific guidance on there, whether it's,
I'll make that motion.
whether it be the maintainability, you make a motion on that? Second, okay. The maintainability and also the accessibility after, okay? So got a second? Any further discussion on that? All those in favor? Any opposed? I'm just writing down some notes, stand by. All right. Thank you, council. Appreciate that. Let's go ahead and move on to G. Consider and act upon task order number 23-03 with TRC Engineers in the amount of $3,000 for the engineering services related to the Harris Driveway floodplain development permit.
So council,
Matt?
this started off when, the Harrisons came in and pulled what's called a simple permit for what was supposed to be a sidewalk. Then it turned out to be an actual driveway, and it runs through the floodplain. So it triggered some more things. It's not a simple permit. There's got to be additional permitting fees, additional inspections, stuff like that. And it has to be approved by our engineers because it was built in the floodplain. They reviewed it and they estimated it could take up to $3,000 to do what they need to with the Harrisons, give them information to get this officially approved. I reached out to the Harrises and was just told today that they're gonna talk to another engineer about getting data they need so that our engineers have it, and they'll let us know how they're gonna move forward. I advise you, we would, do our part, get this approved and have it on standby. So when they're get their ball rolling, however they want to move forward, we'll go from there. But it's not necessarily, if we don't move forward and get this approved, I guess then we have to work through legal on how it gets removed from being built in the floodplain. It is built there now.
That's the one that just put it in, it shoots left just before we did Oak Tree.
Yeah. Again, it was permitted as a simple permit when everything came through until we actually saw it constructed and myself and Paula got involved with it.
If there are state code requirements regarding improvements made in the floodplain, it requires engineers to seal whenever you do that. And so this is sort of backfilling some of those requirements.
Sure, yeah, I wondered,
So
I saw them
that's
building
how
down
that's
there.
happening.
They were cutting right through the drainage.
Like I said, we're not trying to, we're just trying to bring it up to where it needs to be now. And I think we've got the supporting documents, they've got photographs and everything that our engineers and building inspectors, they said that they would be okay with what they have. I think moving forward, our engineers need additional data with flow and stuff.
So it's already completed?
Oh, yes, sir. It was completed and done until we saw it and said, whoa, time out, that wasn't what the permit was pulled for, and we went backwards and had to put the brakes on it. Here we are.
When was this something that happened while I was gone?
Yeah, it just barely a few months ago.
Yeah, they just finished it a month or two ago.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do to continue on, but they haven't done anything. It's stopped where it is right now. And this is because when they sold the park, they lost their access to that area from Creek Street. So now their access is back from 3175. So it's their only way to get through that floodplain area. We've met with them. They knew this was coming, and
This is the normal where we just ask our engineers to give us a price to be able to do their job.
and there won't be any cost. I haven't seen anything that's paid out by the city gets reimbursed
So,
before we release any final documents.
Mayor, I move that we
Hold on.
approve. Sorry.
we got
Mayor, I move that we approve task order 23
What he said.
-03 with TRC Engineers in the amount of $3,000 for engineering services related to the Harris Driveway floodplain development permit.
Okay, got a motion, got a second? Got a second over here? Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you, appreciate that. Let's go ahead and move on to H. Consider and act upon task order number 23-04 with TRC Engineering Services in the amount of $750 for the elevation certificate at 19536 South Somerset Street, Lytle, Texas. Matt?
Again, same concept. This is a house that was built in a portion of a floodplain. I thought this was already taken care of, but in talking with permitting, we could issue a CFO because we don't have this final seal of approval from our engineer. They've seen it all and everything's good. They just got to get some more information from the people, and they anticipate $750 but we need to move on this because they're unable to continue their insurance without it.
Which house is
Is that the new house that you put in just before you turn left to go on Wild
Yes, sir.
The gray house?
Yes, sir.
Well, I moved that we approve task order 23-04 as stated in the agenda.
Okay, got a motion for us to go ahead and approve that? Second, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay, let's go ahead and move on. I consider and act upon whether to proceed with issuing a request for proposal for building inspection services. Matt?
So council, at the last meeting, we were tasked with giving options for the city for additional building inspections, plumbing inspections, items like that. So legal has worked up this request for proposal you see before you tonight, that we can issue out and ask for proposals back from different firms. I can tell you, I've already, after that meeting, somebody notified somebody somewhere, because I've already had phone calls from firms that do turnkey, just like what we were talking about, asking us when we're gonna get this out. They want to give us a proposal, they want to move forward work. So I don't know if somebody in the crowd reached out or they saw it online, because I think they hit every city email with information. I don't know if y'all got it, but it was from a company I think.
Yep.
But this is what you have before you tonight. We've still got to get some more data in it. I got it from Jesse.
Today.
Yeah, today, a little later in the day, 3:30. I've reviewed most of it, made some minor corrections as far as, our mailing address, stuff like that. And I got to work with, when we already issue it, once I get the data from the building permit.
Pretty
section.
straightforward, Jesse?
It's pretty
It's pretty
straightforward.
Okay.
Only question, I'll work with Jesse. There's some stuff that talks about the fire code, even though we have our own, and we'll work through that because we do all of our own inspections, plans, review everything. But we want to have the ability that if it's a large project, because the way it's adopted, if it is a large project, our local fire marshal can say, hey, this is larger than we can handle. We want to outsource it, and 100% of that cost is the permitting fee. So this, if we do a turnkey company, they would have all those inspections.
And where you would have that is if you have a big distribution center, you're gonna need, say, it's gonna cost thousands of dollars to review plans and.
Amazon warehouse where it
Yeah.
is here. We would probably want to outsource that because. it
Which we would
takes
do
so much
anyway.
time.
We would have to do anyway now because it's just the complexity of it.
And it would be to have a resource available to the city. For example, it would also coordinate with TRC. They do some of the subdivision plating and construction plan review as well. So we coordinating with some of the existing people, the in-house fire marshal, TRC, the city staff, obviously for all the permitting when they have the issue all those things. But it's just a matter of having, rather than have, right now it's sort of divided up between building inspection and plumbing inspection. So rather than have two, then having one available to do that, and then you could parcel that out as you needed to basically work with you.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I move that we proceed with issuing a request for proposals for building inspection services.
Got a motion on the floor? Okay, got a second? Any further discussion?
That permitting fee is based on the overall cost of the project.
Well, we'll have to see, there's different options, that's what this is saying, they need to tell us what their fee schedule is gonna be, whether it's per hour, per inspection, a percentage of the inspection, but we'll work through that. And the one gentleman that called me to talk to me about it said the same thing, they've got several options they could use.
Okay.
So, I mean, depending on how it falls, we could have to come back and ask to increase our inspection fees.
That's what.
I bet you would.
But I can tell you, every body out there, we're still waiting.
Good. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Doing good. Let's go ahead and move on to department head reports. So animal care and control. Santi, come on up. This is a reminder as he's getting set up. Council, this is what we'll be doing. On the first meeting, we'll have 4 departments do this. And then on the second meeting, we'll actually have the city hall post. Where we can kind of lengthen or shorten the time periods on it. And it lines up, usually they do a pretty good job of getting the briefings already by the beginning of the month. That's good.
I did different. So it's not gonna be able to scroll down.
Yeah.
Yeah, 85 calls for service, set 5 traps, 2 miscellaneous. We had 9 surrenders. We transferred 20 Picked up 19 for the month of March. Counts right now at 40 and 14 cats. Transferred rescues at 6 dogs to Burning Animal Control, 2 dogs to Humane Society San Antonio on the 14th, and then 12 dogs to the Humane Society San Antonio on the 28th. Had 10 volunteers, total of 85 and a half hours. Yeah. As of March, I don't know if y'all noticed, but I forgot to put, we had euthanized 2 animals back in January. When I was doing it, it snapped on me that I didn't add it on there, so we didn't euthanize 2 in March. It was actually in January of this year. I have 7 adopted and 67 total transferred to rescues. 84 pet owners come for food, 4 new people. That was from the Atascosa County area. 19 from Atascosa, 6 from Castroville, 10 from Divine, 2 from Hondo, 17 from Talia, 25 from Lidle, 2 Poteet, and 3 from Somerset. 3 come from Somerset.
So can I ask you a question on the Bell's Pantry? It's just because I don't know how it works. I know we do this food every month. Does the city buy any of that food or is it?
No, it's all donated, all donation. We get it from San Antonio Humane Society. When they get truckloads, they kind of just, like, either they'll pick me to pick the food or contact Hondo or Medina County. They just go around picking.
Santi does a great job of being able to work with them and get them some food. And sometimes he take advantage when he gets a call of others that are not, they don't take the food. And then he said, hey, Lido, do you want it?
Yeah. So,
And Santi with his new truck and the big
Yes.
trailer, whoa,
I can load up
drive
all
up
the-
there and come back with a full trailer, but it's provided to us.
It's all donated.
Yeah.
How many city employees work during that time? Giving up the foods?
Just me and the mayor and Betty Kroger. It's usually us 3 that, we do have employees working, but they're not doing.
It's the employee's normal day. of work.
Yeah.
No employees.
So I will add, so Animal Allies also helps out with this. Sometimes we're running low, like on cat food or a certain type of dog food or something. So they'll go out and buy to kind of make sure that we're
Yeah.
balanced out. Is that correct, Santi?
Especially on cat food, because that's what mainly we run out first.
So we do get donations from our local nonprofit.
On March financial review. And then our indoor yard sale, we raised $17.98. It was a great turnout. We had a lot of people from all over come support us. And a big thank you to my volunteers and who helped me out. I couldn't have done without them, without coming in and help setting up during that week of setting the table down, putting each item on the table and stuff like that to help out.
And they're good. They're good. And you were able to get somebody whatever was left over, right?
Yep. And then that's gonna be our chart design. Actually have an appointment on Wednesday to take it in Wednesday. And then by the end of the day, it should be done. So it's,
Okay, the number that is on there, is that the office or is that the on-call?
that's the office number, the facility number.
Okay.
So, yeah, but that's what it'll look like when I get it back on Wednesday.
And the recording that the facility does have goes on call number, correct?
Yes.
Oh, no, it's just a basic,
Okay.
I don't know, I haven't really.
If we can fix it, just to say we're not available, it's an emergency, please call us at,
Yes.
it goes on
Got
call
it.
number.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
Okay,
Everyone
good.
that got it.
Yeah, we just need, because if they see you, we
Yeah.
want to make sure we make it easy for
Something with that logo on the side of the truck on the door, what does that say? I'm zooming in on it, it says animal control and control on this thing.
On
The
that
door, on the
patch
passenger
design?
door, yeah.
Yeah,
Animal
it's
care
our
and control.
animal care and control. It's our patch design.
And, well, what I'm seeing on here says animal control and control, that's a little crazy.
They might have just done it wrong.
It should be animal care and control.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just, proof that before that gets.
Yeah, I sent him a picture of my patch design on it. But yeah, I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, you can zoom in on the door.
They might have,
Yeah, it does. That's pretty big. Animal control.
Should be care, animal
Oh,
care, animal care and control.
Care and control.
Yeah.
Animal control. Yeah, they put the same word for
Yeah,
it.
animal care, yeah, they put control inside, yes.
Well, they're doing double work, double control.
So, yeah, I'll have to email them tonight to make it fix that. That's what it looks like after Wednesday. And that's pretty much it.
So Santi, great job on the fundraising and getting this and getting the stuff over
Yeah.
there. But we are getting close to a year from the time that we started with trying to get our numbers down.
Yes.
So I think be prepared for the next meeting that we have. We probably need to have a solid plan and how we're going to be able to bring those numbers down to what the facility is capable of.
Yes. definitely.
Okay? Because we're still way up high on the numbers and we need to bring them down. Okay? So,
So just people bringing their animals?
It's just, people say, same thing, same story, they found it in the city.
Are the 9 syringes you had, are those people that gave money or those that they said they found them in the city? The ones you had last month?
I think they were the ones that found in the city and brought in.
Are we still calling the police?
Yeah, yes, if you said, call the police if they don't want to pay the surrender.
Yeah, if they don't pay the
Yeah,
surrender,
most of them pay and I bring up the money.
then that's an animal surrender, that they're surrendering their personal animal to the city. It's not as far as I'm concerned, if you're willing to pay that $20 fee, that tells me it was probably your animal that you brought to our
So
facility, not a stray.
these are
down from
folks
the
that are
city.
surrendering their pet.
Well, that they found.
Oh, they found.
If they're willing to pay the $20, it's probably their pet.
Oh, you got some people that do find stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
stray people, animals around HEB. And you do have some animal people that they'll easily pay 20 or 40 bucks to get it to a facility. But the deal is there is a big problem with people telling the truth. We call that job security.
Require them to have like a utility bill to prove residency?
Yeah, that's how it is in San Antonio. If you don't live within the city or have a bill for the city, they don't accept it. That's how San Antonio Community Society works and ACS works too.
If that's the policy of the council, I think it's always been open.
Yeah.
To if you say you found it roaming in the city, we just took it. If the council wants to change that to no, we're not gonna take an animal from you unless you physically reside in the city, whether it's a surrender or you found it running. That's,
I mean, we have an issue with population, right?
We do.
At our facility, so. I hate to be turning people away, but our taxpayers are the ones putting the bill. They're creating additional work for you, so maybe it's something to add in the future, agenda. Put it on the-
Yeah, because I get calls from outside the city too, I'm like, oh, you don't service, well, can I bring it in? Like, no, well, I have someone that lives in the city, I'm like, no. Like, we had one, she lives outside Lido, but had her son-in-law live here in the city and was gonna give her son-in-law his dogs, so he could surrender to us, but we told her no, she couldn't do that, so.
I understand. But we appreciate everything that you're doing, son. It's just,
Yeah, I'm trying, but it just,
yeah, but we gotta come up with a plan. So if we need to get more of the transfers involved, so we can get, and I know you've been working on it, but in February, we didn't have any transfers, right?
Yeah.
So we need to come up with a plan that is,
That I had
it's gonna get us down to
The ones
those
that I had
numbers.
In March and in April, I set back in December of last year for these points for San Antonio. So, yeah, definitely, we're gonna work on that.
Yeah. So we'll get with you, but it'll probably be prepared for next month.
Yes, sir.
Okay? It'll be that one. Council? Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Cassandra, library.
Turn it on the side, there's a little. Oh.
Pink?
once you got it going,
Okay.
right.
Alright, so
saying 89 and 83. Our checkouts did go up in 1,564. The users only went up one, but it's still, they're getting checked out, and people are learning more about it. I see people every day. We had 9 new accounts and 31 account renewals, and April made 18 new reports. And so during story time, we had 10 kids during the week of spring. Pretty good. And we're still working on this. It's taking a little longer than we anticipated. We will have it done by the end of the year. And we're still offering the curbside services. We do have more people starting to learn about them. Some people who have little ones, they don't want to, if it's raining or it's cold, they don't want to get them out. They just order the books and then take them out to the car. And these are our displays for last month. This Women's History Month, National Barbie Day, and it was Craft Month, and then Texas History Month. And of course, we did Dr. Seuss, and then it was Irish American Heritage. And we're still doing those sections. Hopefully, we'll have them done by the end of the year, taking a little bit longer. The only thing we have left really is the adult nonfiction, and so I take about 50 books at a time to Jo, and she peels all the labels off, and then it goes back to April, and April reprints everything, they go back to Jo, so she put everything back on. So it's just back and forth. But that's about it.
I think it was April's birthday yesterday, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yesterday. How did it go on the spring break? Did you see an influx of?
Yeah, there was a few more people coming in. It wasn't a whole lot, but it was a few more people.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, I think, it's slowly coming back up, but we're planning on having the golf event in June. I'm just waiting for that guy to get us a call back. He's gonna do an indoor 18-hole mini golf course in the way. We did it last year, but I think I didn't get you all on time because it was up in the air whether we were gonna do it or not, and we finally, we're just waiting for him to call us back, because he comes all the way from United States, way up north. Maine, Maryland, so on, and he does a lot of different places around the state, and then he'll pick up the little libraries for me.
Good. Awesome.
Well, I'll let y'all know.
Please do, so we can get it out. Okay? Thanks, Cassandra. Anything? Okay, here we go, Public Works. James, come on up.
Good evening, everyone. Last month, we installed 5 new meters, replaced 2 meters, and then we had found 9 leaks that belonged to the customer on rereads. On gas and water, we had 32. 2 of them were requested by a customer, and the city requested 30. Sewer stoppages, we had 1, and we found 1 that belonged to the customer. Finals, we had 15 new. Customers, 18. We didn't have a cutoff list last month. The miscellaneous work orders was 14. It's kind of a chart. We also found some of our rereads we were talking about over the months. Some are wrong. We get a new customer, and when the ladies would write up the work order, they put reread, water, but now we're doing final and new instead of reread.
Break it up.
Clarify a little bit.
Yeah, that's good.
There's our monthly man hours. Installation was 80, water maintenance 165, sewer 53, sewer plant maintenance 175, reading meter 64 hours, and reread 16. Locates 66, burn and brush 53, miscellaneous 88, for a total of 760. And there's a little chart on that. Water usage, which we start off with 785 at the beginning of the year. Our reduction is 67.75 acre feet. So we have 717.25 acre feet, and we've used 115 as of the end of March.
Nice.
That's our 35% cutback in 90 days. We got a reduction of 8.63%. Chart on that.
So we want price now, so we're right there. We're what, 1, 2, 3, 4, so we're a quarter,
Yeah.
1 quarter, first quarter.
If we only go up one per quarter, we'll be okay.
Yeah, well, the summer is the one where it gets busy, right? So hopefully we start getting some more rain, it'll be a lot better for us too. All right,
We finished McCoy Road. Well, we didn't finish. We filled McCoy Road at 800 feet of 6-inch. We filled it with water today, and it's highly chlorinated, so we'll probably flush it tomorrow and then take samples in a day or two.
good. We'll take care of that resident.
I think there'll be 3 meters on that one.
3 meters, awesome.
Those are new meters working out, or so the meters we bought, are they,
The radio read meters?
yeah, they were not pretty good. We're not to get off the truck anymore.
Well, we haven't had time, we've been working. We have, I don't know how many we got, over 300 radio reads. But, they've been working out all right. We have 2 of them that haven't worked with them.
Out of 300 radio reads, we only have 2 that are giving me problems right now. And James fixed them, I guess, this next round. We're gonna see if they work. We don't have any rereads on radio reads, so I'm very happy with them.
We've replaced those 2 meters.
Thank you, Charles had something. Oh, you did? Oh, sorry.
James, I saw you all knee deep in mud the other day down here at the little pedestrian bridge. Did you get that leak fixed, or what did you find in there?
We replaced service line. It was, apparently when they did it, they tapped it almost straight up and they ran that line, the service line up. And I guess over the years, it pushed down and it kinked it. We couldn't get a clamp. We worked, about 4 hours on that? Trying to get different clamps, and it was kinked so bad we couldn't, so we ended up just replacing the whole service line.
Okay.
We had to cut out a bunch of concrete.
So this will be a little bit better for us too, because we do have a drop off for the school buses, so the kids will be able to use, once we clear it out, they'll be able to go through there.
Yeah, I just had to drive in mud. I
Yeah.
saw them digging and mud flying everywhere, and I just wanted out.
It's a great thing, it's a great thing for that area,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
so it's good. Anybody else? Thanks, James,
Okay, thank you.
appreciate it.
Council, if I may, I want to give kudos to James and them. They did that repair without their right-hand man they normally use for all their water repairs. And his other guys stepped up and they were down in that hole. Typically, when I see water leaks, they're not the ones actively working, so the experience those guys got that day was tremendous for the city to do that. They worked hard on that one.
And that's a good one too, that's a good one. All right, Richie. He's got something to drink. This has got to be serious now. I know. He's got taking care of those vocals.
Simmer down over. Gotta figure out how to work this first. Okay, there we go. These numbers don't vary much. Again, 8 vehicle collisions for all the cars this town. Don't ask me how. We only had 6 on the public roadway last month. Alarms, again, for all the businesses we've got. Residents is not hardly any of them. No residential alarms. Maybe one today out in Lake Shore, so we'll have at least one for next month. Business checks, building checks. A lot of citations last month, mostly speeding, 252 for speeding, 99 for driver's license related. A little bit of everything there. 41 stop sign and red light tickets. Quite a few citations. The guys stay pretty darn busy out there. I think by any standards, those are significant amount of activity. I don't really pay much attention to what other departments around us do, but I don't think you'd find anywhere near like that. It's amazing what people do when they have a good leader. Racial profiling data, we got all screw that in there.
They might want to stay away from the building.
arrest propane stuff. A lot of arrest, a little bit of everything on there, you know, a lot of, getting a lot more DWIs, a little bit of everything, warrants, same stuff. Really, that hadn't varied much through all the years of being here, 23.5 years, it's all about the same stuff. No juvenile stuff, no identity theft stuff, no mail fraud deal. Burglaries, PC Bistro, they broke in, Pirates Cove, took $400 cash.
Really?
Yeah, had a lot of one stop, has a mini warehouse. Criminal mischief, somebody hit the wall, drove into the wall down at Naomi's down there on Main Street, Trophy Buck. Medina County chased a car through Trophy Buck's front over and it run through the AT&T junction box one morning or evening. Last one, had a little graffiti in the restroom, but right after the big festival. So at least they waited until after the festival, so that was nice. And let's see, Third Street, somebody took a box of screws, you know, they'd ordered them on Amazon, and I guess somebody porch pirate, I guess they get home and look at all these we got, man, they really. $10 for screws, that's not very many, because I buy those deck things, and the thing of those deck screws like that's about $40 or something, so it probably wasn't but a handful. iPhone, wallet, we did have Southwest Hardware, that was a good little case there. Old boy came in, set down $3,000 one morning in a plastic Ziploc bag and left it there by accident, and got home, and David, luckily, Sergeant Lopez, Corporal Robinson, they, used some techniques there and figured out who the guy was. They went over there into his house, and he had $2,759 of it still left. So the guy, he was out a couple $100. He asked me, what do you think I ought to do? I ought to think we got $2,759 back and charge the rest off to be more careful with your money. Because I think that's what I'll do. But anyway, they got the shoplift there at HEB. We had a lot of little stuff there. And in Benham, Brush Country, they hit them over there for a catalytic converter. We hadn't seen one of those in a while, but that's kind of nice to, missing those. Lost property, we always get all that stuff, phones. That's where we release stuff to people, so this found, of course. Again, a lot of escorts. School picnic right before spring break. I always remember spring break picnic because one of those was the one right before COVID hit, and I remember it always being thinking we're there thinking we'd be back in a week. It's going to be back in like 6 months. So powerlifting. David there's a 3-week class called Leadership Texas Law Enforcement. It's one of our prerequisites under our job descriptions to hold supervisory positions. And so fortunately, we were able to get David in that. There'd be in Bernie. It's 3 weeks, but they break it up, so I think in a couple weeks it'll go again. Matt went through it, David, Frank went through it, Gordon, Daniel Gomez, so we always, it's a really a good program out there at the VFW, another escort. Oh, Bailey Brand, that's a little shop on Main Street, fire marshal stuff. We're at a construction meeting on that new truck stop. Pickleball factory, pickleball distribution center, I guess would be the correct terminology. We did a walkthrough down there. Little flower shop, let me see. Insurance, little insurance deal, and a certificate for the stripes. Now, it took us about 4 or 5 to get to that stripes final, but we did finally get there on 3/29. I've been in it since day one. It's a wonderfully super nice facility. I took some pictures. The menu boards were up, and it's got like catfish. You get like macaroni and cheese. I mean, it's really hungry. Look at it. Check it out. Anyway, it looks good. They got.
We missed all the violations. We've got pictures of that.
They got the chicken stuff over here, and then they got the taco stuff. It's nice. I mean, that place is nice. It's nice. That's all I'm saying.
You moving your desk over there, Rich?
I'm gonna probably be. There's gonna be a lot of activity over it. I'm gonna be right on top of it. The Atascosa County. So cases, we filed nine misdemeanor cases on 9 people, and in felonies we filed actually four cases on 4. Atascosa. We had 2 misdemeanors filed with the Medina County Criminal District Attorney's Office. 2 people, 2 misdemeanors. And they're real advanced over there in Medina County. It's all electronic files, so you don't have to mail stuff and take paper. It's all done through a pretty neat program like they have in Bear County. So it's pretty cool. We've got our other county where we have most of our cases to do that. It would make man do really nice. Nothing in Bear County, praise God. 123 hours overtime. We had only some personal leave that time. No vacation. We do have, what we have going up right now. Oh, no, so we had 19 hours. The actress who helps in the office, she was actually on vacation in California for a couple of weeks. So you can see the gap there. Reserve officers, nothing there really. So what else is going on? Still waiting for an update on the vehicles. I did talk to the guy recently. You know, I think we're probably gonna get our first vehicle maybe in July. And I think we're probably gonna get our second vehicle, so probably October, November. So, that's where we stand on those. That's very frustrating, but that's just what we're into. Hiring process, you know, we had 2 openings. We've been doing very well on that. We possibly will have someone in if everything goes well again right before May, 1st of May. And then the other guy, the other is going to be delayed. It's going to be running a little longer. It's going to take, I've got a polygraph set up for next week and then physical drug screen. And then that guy has to get noticed once we get him where we need him, you know. So he'll probably be, he could be mid-May if we're lucky. So, if nobody backs out, nobody offers him more money between now and then. That's kind of the road, how it works, you know. They're, you know, stealing people left and right. And when it gets down to somebody starting to, it's common when it gets down to say putting in their 2 weeks notice, they get an offer, they get a bump in salary to stay. So we're hoping we can get full staff without having to deal with that. So if I decide to leave, y'all need to maybe think about giving me a bump. I'm just kidding. If I was interested in money, I'd find a different career field. We found a body. A man passed away working over in Saddle Ridge today. I guess he went in Friday night to do some painting and probably had a heart attack. So we, some contractors, supervisor found a body today, so it's kind of a sad deal. Anyway, that was kind of, took a lot of time today.
That one reported in missing before they found him this morning.
A lot of these people, they come from other countries, their families are pretty spread out, and, you know, it's not like, I would like to think something my wife would, if I come home from work for like 2 or 3 days, I'd like to think my wife would like, you know, call them there. But, you know, anyway, so that was a sad deal. It's always sad, you know, because that guy had family. And Corporal Robinson, you know, had to make some notifications to some family members. And that's a tough deal. If you haven't had to do that, it's always tough, you know. Anyway. Any questions on anything? I mean, everything's going fairly well. I don't have any issues. We went to the police chief's conference and everything was fine up there, with the exception of 11:59. It was time for lunch. They got this big dining room. We were going up there. Everybody, get out. Well, Mercy, tell everybody Mercy. We tell about 500 police chiefs and cops get out. So Mercy, everybody's like, well, hey, Mercy, what we do? Why are we going to get out? Well, somebody called in some nut called it a bomb threat, you know. And not only, I don't have to guess that somebody don't like the cops, but could you not do it right at lunchtime? I mean, how depressing was that? You know,
They knew how to really hurt you.
Yeah.
well, yeah, they did. So we wait outside for a while. And
Where'd y'all sit outside?
What do you mean?
Did y'all sit somewhere outside?
Oh, we go outside. There's these 3 big trash bags full. I'm sorry, Charles, you're mad at me here, but you know what? You're getting this because you know you walk
Catch you on
by.
the street, man. You got like, good Indian.
So anyway, make a long story short, we go out, we're right by these bags. I said, David, maybe we shouldn't be here. What's in them bags? I don't know. So we moved away. Make a long story short, we got back. Lunch was a little colder than normal, but you know everything was fine.
They called a bomb threat and you saw bags.
Well, we saw these bags. We just sitting next to them outside, and I said, David, maybe what if there's something in there? So, you know, we don't have a lot of good sense. we're thinking about lunch. I'm sorry, I ramble on.
All right.
You know, what, is there anything I can answer any questions? We can take a short break, we can reconvene, I can talk some more, I can dance, I'll make up folk songs.
I need the rich people.
Yeah.
How did your Easter photo turn out?
Charles took an Easter photo of my family, thank you for bringing that.
Hey, where's my money?
Well,
$5.
that's what you do for constituent services. My wife says, hopefully we're coming back from church, my wife says, maybe we can find somebody on the street, take our picture. And it's like we pulled in, it's like, God, no, and all of a sudden I see Charles walking up the street. There you go. Thank you, Charles.
Do what I can.
All right.
Sorry for rambling on, but, you know.
All
I
right,
don't have
let's
much
go ahead
of
and
a lot.
continue on. Number 8, and this is the executive session. The City Council of the City of Lido may convene an executive session in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code 551.0711A and 2, consulted with the attorney to discuss and consider the following item. A, update a report on pending city litigation. This will be a short update that we actually have. So Lynette, if you can please show us going into closed session 9:23. Council, if you can please meet us in the back. I appreciate that.
Hit it, Lynette.
Was that okay, Anton? Are you okay? Yes. All right, making sure you're okay with that.
I can live with that.
Lynette, if you can show us 9:25. We're back. No action taken. Appreciate that. Okay. And just as a reminder, just to follow the agenda, reminder, the B item was taken care of earlier, right after the citizens' comment. So we complete with that section. So let's go ahead and move on to the last one. This is 9, and this is the informational items. So I'd like to go, anything, Charles? Go back around the room. Richie, any other good story to tell? No, never mind.
I got lots of stories.
James?
We got 109 supplies for water meters out there at Saddle Ridge today, so
200.
I don't know when they're gonna start putting them in, but they gave us the parts that we need.
Good.
They're moving really quick in Saddle Ridge as far as trying to build these homes, so we'll see.
Be good. That'll be good. Okay. Back over here. Anything, Sergeant Villarreal? Anything? No?
Good, thank you.
Okay. Sandra,
I did
Santi?
forget to mention that I will be out next week. Leaving Tuesday for a conference in Austin, for a library conference.
Oh, nice.
I'll be
Good.
on Tuesday through Friday.
Good. Those are always good conferences.
That's where I did my continuing ed there too, so. it's-
Awesome. Santi? Anything?
The Keep Lido Beautiful Committee is planning to do their walk the streets and clean them up on the same day that we do our, big trash dumpsters. I believe that's the ninth.
May 9th.
Six.
May 6th, maybe.
Yeah, the Saturday.
Take a look,
Yeah.
take a look, let's make sure.
May 6th, I'm sorry, May
Yeah.
6th.
So if anybody knows any service organization that needs to get volunteer hours, that would be a good opportunity to do that. The people out of the beautiful committee is supposed to be contacting the applicable people at the high school to see about the honor societies and any other group of them that might need hours. Have they gotten with you yet about advertisements on the sign?
No, I've got nothing from them. We've got the approval from the school for the dumpster to be placed up. Okay, go there.
All right, good. I'll call, Chris was supposed to get with you. I'll call Chris and
Oh, wait. Let me check, let me say that. I don't think so, but let me check. Maybe so.
Take care of it.
yeah, if he doesn't get it to you, I will.
But we gotta get as early as possible for the kids if you're asking.
That's-
What time does that start? 6?
It's 9 o'clock. 9 to 9 to 1. I think it is.
And we'll do the same thing with the dumpster, same time have people walk.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll have a table set up out here to pick up the vest and then we'll pick up handles and bags and things like that. And one big dumpster here, 3 over at the school. And it's a good chance to get the city cleaned up.
Just bring gloves.
Yeah, and we'd love to see anybody from the city here come on out and pick up on loose trash.
Be good. Anything else? Thank you. Good reminder, definitely a good reminder. Okay, so some reminders and some comments, just want to pass on. Council, please help us out. Public Works is looking, they're hiring. So we have an opportunity to be able to fill. So if you know of anybody, please work with James, work with Matt, so we can go ahead and take care of that. I want to say special thanks to Public Works. I know not only with that one, but a few other things that have popped up, and especially after hours, stepping up and helping us out. Whether it's getting something fixed, something looked at, or maybe working an event. So we really appreciate it, James. Thanks for doing all that. We appreciate it. I want to say thanks once again to Lynette for all the hard work on the audit. That worked out really good, so it's going to be a lot easier for us to be able to take care of that for the future. Santi, kudos to you on the yard sale and getting all that taken care of. Definitely a good thing to do. Great, thanks for a great Easter egg hunt. That worked out really good. City Hall, Paola, Lynette, Matt, everybody was involved. Public Works, Parks, VFW, Auxiliary, Fire Department, Boy Scouts, and the National Honor Society. And there's probably a few other volunteers that were part of that, but a lot of feedback. Everybody gave us a lot of kudos. Total of how many, Lynette? That was 20,000 eggs? Yeah. So, I mean, kids were excited. The bunny did a great job. Tell the bunny that she's contracted. I mean, she did a really good job with the kids. It worked out really good. So a lot of kudos on that. Represented the city very well. Congrats. I want to let you know, I know I gave a heads up. It's now official. Our former commander here, VFW commander, Larry Sanders, has actually been named as a state VFW commander. So he'll be taking over in June. So there'll be a homecoming, that's what they call it. It'll be in June timeframe, and it'll probably be in San Antonio. But in case you run into him or you hear about him, one of our own here is going to be the state commander for the whole VFW. So that's pretty big. So, and we'll probably do something. We'll probably do some sort of recognition here with the council too. A reminder that we have the seniors meal on the 20th of April, so next week. So please, if you have any, get them to talk to Paula for registration, getting everything set up. But we should have a pretty good on that day. We have the community outreach event happening on the same day. We're doing everything that we did last time with all the programs with WIC and assistance and all that. Plus, we're bringing Methodist Healthcare. They're going to be doing some health screening, which is awesome. And we got ACOG committed on this one for them to come in and help us out with weatherization programs, senior citizen programs, financially assistant programs. Yeah. So that's going to be pretty good. And there's a good probability, they're supposed to let me know tomorrow that they might actually have somebody that might be giving shots for the elderly too. The flu and a few of the other ones that are out there, the boosters and all that. June is when we're going to concentrate with the kids. So we're going to have June set up for vaccination for kids. And this is for all those in certain grades. I think it's at 7th grade that they need to have their shots. There's certain windows in schools that they have to have their shots. If not, they're not allowed to register. So we're going to do it in June. So all the parents can come. It'll be for free, get their shots. They can go ahead and be ready to register instead of running around trying to catch a doctor or somewhere to get their shots. So that'll be in June. So a lot of stuff going on. Also want to thank Santi and also give the council, if you saw the notice, we have the second case of rabies. Great job getting their stuff out here. This is with skunks, okay? Luckily, so far the dogs have been good, right, Santi?
Yes, this last one, the dog was current, so he just got a booster and confined for 45 days.
Oh, 45 days?
He started confined.
Oh, I thought it was less than that.
No,
Okay,
45.
45 days. Okay, that's good to know.
90 days for unvaccinated.
Yeah. And Santi, they said that it was a skunk was acting.
No, the gentleman said the dog just killed it. I guess it ran under the house. When he brought it to me, it was a bunch of dirt and mothballs, so I'm guessing it went under the house.
Okay. So it was a previous one, the one that was
Yes.
walking around real weird and all that.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So this is our second one in here. We've been very fortunate. By the way, our local health authority is involved in all this. Every time we have something, we report it. So as long as we can keep it, between the we should be okay. But just so you'll know, be careful with the skunks, and they have a high probability of carrying rabies. TxDOT, they came through in the last minute. We thought they weren't. Opened up the 2 lanes. We're still working on the other lane. They're waiting for the contractor to pour some more concrete, and then they'll flip on the Bill Miller side. They'll flip to the lane that is closest to the businesses. So they're still doing that, and then 3175 they'll be working. We'll keep you updated on that, but that should be happening hopefully here by next week. Next meeting in the very beginning, we're going to be a little bit busy. We have the boys and the girls basketball teams getting recognized. So we're going to get them all. The boys were supposed to come tonight, but they canceled because it was a day off. So they asked if they could put them. So it's going to be pretty busy. So just bear with us, but we'll take care of them. Please go out and catch our boys baseball and the girls softball teams. They're doing really, really good. The boys, both of them are doing great. But what I'm really impressed with the boys is they're all freshmen and sophomores, the majority of them. And they're doing really good. That's a good sign with our teams that we have. So also with our track meets that are going on, please go out there and support them. I have not heard anything, but I know our tennis team went to regionals today. So hopefully something good turned out of that. As soon as we hear something, we'll let you know. Any last minute? Anything at all? Okay, and we got 9:35 right now. Do I have a motion for us to go ahead and adjourn?
I move we adjourn then.
Okay, got a motion? Got a second? All those in favor? Any opposed? I don't know why I asked. There we go. Have a great evening. Thank you for a great meeting.